Welcome to Minutes by Minutes. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we're here to talk about what goes on in the township, the village, those people that make laws, regulations, and ordinances that affect you out there.
And whether you live in the village of Oxford, the village of Leonard, Oxford Township, or Addison Township, these are the people that, you elected, and the commissions and the committees that make decisions that directly affect you, whether you attend these meetings or not, and you really should. But then again, that's why we're here.
It's all their fault.
That's right.
Actually, we're here.
If it wasn't for them not being there, we wouldn't be here.
That's right. And one of the reasons why we're here, too, is to find humor in these meetings. Sometimes we don't have to look very far, do we?
Oh, no.
It just bubbles right to the top automatically.
Yes, red faces around.
And you folks, like he said, should attend these meetings, because if you don't, it's going to come back. It's going to bite you, and you're going to see the humor later.
If a decision is made that, doesn't please you, well, you should have been there.
That's right. Well, let's talk about meetings, shall we?
Okay.
All right, we'll get right to it. The first one we're going to talk about is the Oxford Village DDA meeting.
Downtown Development Authority.
You got it. They're a pretty aggressive group. They've done pretty well. I think financially they're now stable. They're
in the black.
They're in the black.
They harmonized.
In the black. I was going to say that. That's why you harmonized.
Tweedledum and Tweedledee.
Anyway, first thing, of course, that they did, Sue Bassard is the chairperson for that group, and they talked about approval of the agenda, which that was done rather quick. They had to get the preliminaries out of the way, how that works.
Yep.
And then they reviewed the minutes for October 19th. And
all right.
They said all those in favor for approval, there goes the ship. Aye.
Aye.
So it was approved. That went rather quickly.
Ship sails on.
Ship sails on. There it goes. Anyway, they said, is there any public comment? No.
Were there any public there?
Yes.
Okay. And they were looking at their shoes.
Yep, and they had their hands in their pockets.
Nope.
Looking down.
Nope.
Okay. Anyway, so there was no public comment. And the first thing that came up was Joe Frost, who is the executive director for the DDA. And he provided a director's report.
He's been on the job for, about 3 months now?
Yeah, he's doing a pretty good job in there, too. All kinds of things going on. As a matter of fact, he said that the image has improved a great deal as far as...
Since he got his glasses? No.
Since he got new glasses,
Okay.
yes, I think that's it. For the downtown businesses. Before, I guess there wasn't, the rapport, quite as good as it is now. So anyway, that's improved. And Main Street accreditation, he's been looking into that.
We used to have it, but we lost it, a couple of years ago?
Yeah, somewhere they're going to find it again.
All right.
But they're working on it. They've lost it, but they can almost see it. It's going to be coming. Anyway.
Light at the end of the tunnel.
Light at the end of the tunnel.
Et cetera.
Yeah, if it's not a freight train, they'll be all set. Anyway, the light. He said also that there's a number of development opportunities that are within the village. And one of the places that they're looking at is 15 North Washington Street. It's a vacant property. Actually, the property is for sale by owner right now.
15 North Washington.
15 North Washington. You're going to ask me where that's at, right?
Is that where the farmer's market is? That's a blank.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's not a building there per se.
No, it's a complex actually. And that that building, Joe Frost talked to the real estate agent about that property that leases it out, and trying to come up with some alternatives for that property use.
Okay. Are we talking that piece of blank land that's there between the buildings, or a building itself?
Yes. Okay. You know what? Take a note.
Oh boy.
I believe that's what it is. But anyway, so they need to do something with that property. So real estate agents, actually, they provided him with information through a stats company, a statistics firm. And a statistics firm said that they have access to, get this, all the credit card information that goes through the various machines statewide.
Yes.
Every area is broken down as far as a community.
Right.
And they can actually tell you how much types of product, for example, TV sets and everything that are purchased outside of the village. They can also tell you other products that are outside the village. In other words, what might be something that would be applicable as a new business.
That isn't sold in the village?
That is not sold in the village.
And it's a regular marketing study.
Right, it is a marketing study. It also provides statistics like how many people live in the community, how many people are employed in the community, how many people outside the community, there's a lot of this information.
That's available at the census.
Well, Joe Frost actually has this information that he now takes to various committee meetings and so forth, you know, when the question comes up. For example, he had one person that was interested in starting her own business, and she was talking about doing a coffee shop. You know, we have a coffee shop in town, but that coffee shop is going to be moving. It's at Merge.
Oh, it's going to move?
You didn't know that, did you?
Well, no, I mean, it just moved there.
Well, inquiring minds want to know, and here's one. The coffee shop.
Too much caffeine? Gotta move.
Could be too much. I have no idea. Bicyclists, I don't get it. But anyway, it's right alongside the Pollyant Trail. But anyway, the coffee shop is going to be moving, and it's going to be moving to the Legacy Center. You know where that's
Really? Is it moving, or they're just creating a concession?
No, it's going to be moving.
All right. Then.
Moving. They're going to be going. And the Legacy Center, of course, is a new operation that's going to be is open now, actually, for various businesses.
Oh, yeah. It's got like multiple concessions on the inside.
On South Lapeer Road.
North Lapeer Road.
North Lapeer. Well, we can move him to the south. We spread a rumor?
Oh, no, please.
I think he's got multi-million dollars into this. I don't think he wants to move it. Anyway.
You mean I built it in the wrong location? Oh, my God.
Chris. I'm trying to think. Christopher is the guy.
Mills.
Yeah. Chris Mills is one.
Christian Mills.
Christian Mills. You know, he and I are buddies, so I call him Chris. He's got roughly about $2.5 million or so into it right now. He's going to put another $2 million into it, and before he's done, he's going to have probably $8 to $10 million into it.
And then what they say, $1 million here, $1 million there. And pretty soon you're talking real money.
It's chump change. Anyway, so anyway, that information I thought was rather interesting. They are also looking at the state of Michigan for National Historical Register for various properties in town. And what's the advantage of that? Well, I knew you were going to ask that question, right?
Before I said something. Doesn't that carry a burden with it too if you want to do something with the property?
Well, that was the question that actually was asked, is do we have to do it the way the state dictates it? And like Joe Frost said...
Or we just put a marker up there.
Yeah. He said the criteria isn't actually that rigid, you know. You set your own established requirements for the village and what you want. But the advantages, of course, is tax credits. And you will get about 20%, for example, of a rehabilitation cost back in tax credits. So that's pretty good, you know, if you're starting a new business and you want to, you know, create a unique facade. Right? Wouldn't you say?
Create it, but that's a new facade. How does it become historical?
It would be a historical one because you do work on it. It has to be created.
So you make it look old?
Make it look old.
Oh.
Now, you could either wait 100 years or you could do it now.
Get that Victorian gingerbread out, folks.
Right. Anyway, it sounds pretty good anyway as far as 20% coming back. Let me see. Rod Charles says Christmas is coming. Surprise, surprise.
I'm shocked and awed.
Yes. And he said, you know, the Christmas utensils or whatever they hang up, you know, to make it a bright little town when you go through it.
I see.
He said they really are bad. They need to be replaced. And we'll talk to you more about that when we come back right after this.
See you then.
OCTV is our community.
Welcome back to Minutes by Minutes. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we're talking about Christmas lights right now and things that you hang up, you know, and make it Christmassy when you drive through
Little
town.
candy canes and garlands and stuff like that.
Joe Frost thinks that we need to update
Joe Frost
them.
or Charles?
No, Joe Frost.
Oh, okay.
Executive Director for the
Okay.
DDA. Yeah. Anyway, he thinks that we should change it because he's taking a look at him. He says, yeah, you. So he said, we need to put it not in this year.
1848? Good Lord.
Right,
Hey,
we need not
something
put
new
it
here.
in this year's budget, but next year. I'm just warning you, we need to do something. So anyway, the board agreed that, they'll look at it next year. Anyway, Ed Hunwick, who's the treasurer, they said, well, what kind of bills do we have? Ed says, well, $14,845.99. And they said, well,
How many trinkets did we get for that?
yeah, is it all accounted for? Ed says, yeah. All those in favor? All approved.
Well,
So it went through. Okay, they paid their bills.
Good job,
That's good. It'll be open the doors for another month at least. Okay, then Ed Hunwick said, there's a couple of questions I have
uh-oh.
concerning, the expenses I see. He said, I see that the bond was paid for $6,522, was approved, but according to Joe Young and his figures, we paid $64,000. He says, where is that coming from? So Subasarta says, well, I think that was from last June.
Oh.
So he says, well, I missed that one. He said, I'm kind of concerned about missing anything. So anyway, she says, well, I understand.
Treasurers don't like surprises.
They don't like surprises at all. And he said, there's one other issue. I see $3,600 on unemployment. Who do we lay off? And Subasarta, she says, well, that was for Madonna for last year. When she was here, we had to pay, unemployment for her when she was the director. He says, oh, okay, fine. He says, and I guess everything's all set. He said, I'm okay with it. He said, everything else balances. So he said, I just had those questions. Good move, Ed. Ed keeps tabs on the financials. Code enforcement, Jerry Kremen jumped up and he says, okay, he says, code enforcement, I'm concerned. Dumpsters. Dumpsters? Yeah. We used to have 4 dumpsters. He said, down there on North Washington Street. He said, when you
That's
change...
out back, right?
That's out back.
Right.
And when you changed, to a new, what do you call it, salvage company or
Waste
pickup, waste management?
Well,
Yeah, that's
waste
the word.
management is a brand name, but that trash pickup.
Yeah, trash, that was what I was looking for. Trash pickup. So when you changed trash pickup, they went from 4 to 3. Now he said, I understand that the village was looking to save money. He said, but not only did they go to 4 to 3, they went to itty bitty baskets. He said, and there's more activity over in our area now.
So someone wasn't.
They're overflowing.
Someone didn't have a sharp pen when they were coming up with these specs.
No. So Subasarta says, well, okay then. She says, I will check on it and I'll pursue this. She
But
says,
it's going to cost.
well, sure it's going to cost. Unexpected costs. But anyway.
So much for that low bid.
Well, you have a choice. You're going to look for tumbling weeds or trash coming across the parking lot. And he does not like trash coming across the parking lot. So Jerry Kremen, well spoken. Joe Frost said that he did submit a financial report for the conference that he attended because they questioned it last time, and he did provide that information to them. By the way, the DDA didn't have to pay anything, for the conference. Subasarta attended, and I think a representative from Leonard also went.
So where did the money come from?
Subasarta paid it.
Really?
She did, out of her own pocket.
Good for Sue.
Good for Sue. Let's hear it. Go.
For Sue.
Yeah. New business, Dave Weckel was there, and he's got a site that he's working on off Burdick Street. And
Right.
it's going to consist of 3 buildings and a parking lot.
That's a few sites.
Yep, and he wants to improve the parking lot as soon as possible. He provided a site plan, an architectural plan as well as what he's going to do. They're going to be 3-story buildings. He's going to build them and sell each of the business locations that he's going to have and apartments overhead
All right.
to the prospective owner.
You know, when
of that
Dave
property.
shows up for these meetings, he's usually got his I's dotted and his T's crossed.
Hey, he's a pretty thorough guy. What can I say?
Yep.
So anyway, so they all agreed that everything looked good. So the next step he was going to have probably is to go before the Planning Commission, and he knows that. So he was just kind of running by DDA to begin with. Oxford Bank, he said one thing is Oxford Bank is going to finance this, and he said they're going to also cover the condos, which normally they don't cover the expense of a condo up front. They want to see occupancy. There's some condos overhead above the buildings. So he's got this all figured out, and separate parking also, so that people don't have to use the parking area, private parking. Facades, he said that it's going to be red brick on the outside as a rule, and it's going to conform with the downtown businesses.
Maybe even get a historical marker.
Yeah, they might. Probably not. But you could probably make one up and put there. I'm not sure.
On a new building.
On a new building. Well, I'll tell you what. That pretty much nails the DDA. Let's now talk about the Oxford Village Planning Commission. John Duvall is the chairperson. And by the way, John does a great job. When I was on the Planning Commission, I always felt the guy was on top of things, and he is.
Yeah.
The consultant, McKenna, excuse me, and associates were there, Chris Corey, and they had a number of issues that they needed to talk about. There's a public hearing about 98 Glaspie Street. And of course, they took care of all the preliminaries too, which went by rather quickly.
Refresh my memory. What is 98 Glaspie Street?
98 Glaspie is, remember the old building next to the DPW operation over there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Old
It used
metal
to be- that's where this
warehousing.
They had a skate park there for a little bit.
Yeah,
A really old building.
right. So anyway, the village sold that property to Chuck Snyder.
Right.
And
He wanted to build some kind of facility.
he's building
there.
76 units over there.
Oh,
Yeah, right. Including existing, he's going to take the existing shell that he has, because the structure is good, the skeleton. He's just going to take everything off the outside, and he's going to remodel everything inside, reconstruct it, so that there will be apartments in that building. Plus he's going to build,
oh, okay.
yeah, plus he's going to build another operation or a complex, and it's going to be called, it's going to be a villa.
A villa?
Yeah, next to the lake. And it's going to be condos. And it's a 3-story condo complex. And it's going to have garages for each of the complex. There's going to be
Wow.
28 of them there, I
Very
think, or
nice.
24. 24. Now, if I say 28, then, you know, Chuck will have to build 28. He's going to build 24 there. And
Underlying story, things are happening in Oxford.
they are, yep. And I saw pictures of it. You know, they provided it, you know, at the planning commission, or at the meeting, planning commission meeting, 3-dimensional views, very nicely done. There were a couple of questions as we went along here. This is going to be done in phases, because obviously can't do everything all at once. And the first thing they're going to work on is the metal building. They're going to take everything off the skeleton, and then they're going to rebuild everything on the outside of it, and then finish things, of course, in the inside. And of course, question was asked by one of the commissioners is, what about the sewer and the water line? Well, sewer is not a problem. They explained where that was going to run. And the water line is going to be an 8-inch line, which will provide water to the complex.
And that doesn't overstress the current system
Right.
at all.
And Jack Curtis says, well, wait a minute now, that was a manufacturing operation before, which used a whole lot less water than probably all these homes with bathrooms and kitchens and everything are going to use. And the engineer said, well, which was Jim Sharp, this will handle it. He said, we've designed that into it. And he said, we'll discuss that further. And we'll talk about that when we come back.
Not like
too.
they're getting it for free.
No. No, say free. That's a bad word. Yeah, they would look at that as being a bad word. Village or the township would.
Only if they're on the giving end.
Only if they're on the giving end, yes.
Canine Stray Rescue is Oxford's own local dog rescue. Each year they take in hundreds of dogs and bring them into suitable homes. A certified nonprofit organization, Canine Dog Rescue strives to give pound dogs a new leash on life. To donate, adopt, or even volunteer, call them at 248-628-0435 or go to their website, dogsaver.org, and click on the Canine Stray Rescue League link.
Welcome back to Minutes 5 Minutes. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kinney.
And we're here talking about the Glaspie Street location, 98 Glaspie by Chuck Snyder. And we're talking about the construction that he's going to do there. And it's actually going to be done in 5 phases. And he's going to, the reason why it's 5 phases is because you need to complete phase 1, lease it, rent it, or whatever you're going to do for that. And then you get the funding for the next phase, and you keep on going.
You don't want to set your phase to stun.
No. Well, actually, the multiple phases, by the time it's done here, will be in the neighborhood of about $8 million to $10 million for this complex.
Wow.
Jack Curtis said, well, what about tap fees? He says, for water. He said, has that been discussed anywhere along the line? And the engineer says, well, that'll be discussed with Don Brantley with the Department of Public Works. And that's on the agenda to do that. This is only a preliminary, presentation, to the Planning Commission. So anyway, he says, well, Jack says, well, what about filtration? He said, if you're going to run water into the lake over there, the mill pond. And he said, the engineer said, that's all under consideration also. And there's a filtration system.
Well, a filtration system?
Yeah, make sure impurities and so forth don't get drained into the lake. From the water reservoir, or slush.
That's the detention
from the
pond?
slush fund.
Was that the detention pond or the retention pond?
Oh, this is a detention pond. There's
okay.
a difference between retention and detention.
Oh,
We
don't
went
go
over
there. No, don't go there again.
Okay. Okay. Had this discussion before, folks.
Torture me.
It is, okay. So anyway, he said there's going to be garages. There's going to also be carports, excuse me, for the people that rent the 2-level building rather than the 3-level. Landscaping. Jack Curtis says, well, he said, I according to ordinance, regulation, from the drawing I'm looking at, you're not meeting the requirements of the landscape requirements. And that's on a PUD agreement, PUD, which is the Plan Unit Development. So this will run under PUD, so he'll work with this as they go through it, with the various officials.
They call it PUD or just PUD?
PUD.
Okay.
I call it PUD.
It doesn't sound good.
It's a PUD. Hey, yeah, it's PUD. It's kind of with mud. It rhymes with mud. Anyway,
PUD.
PUD. Anyway, so anyway, the chairperson said, what about fire department? Is there anything, Pete Schultz, you've got to say about this as far as, the way the parking lot and so forth are laid out? And Pete said, yeah, he said they need to move the garage, one of the garages, so we can get fire trucks by it a little bit, those kind of things. And Pete said, I've already discussed it with them, and it looks like, they're going to go forward with it, and take care of it. Timeline. Question was, how soon is this going to be done? And he says, it'll probably be done as soon as we get total financing for it, or as the financing develops. So I couldn't really tell you, if we're going to start in January, if it's going to be completed, by summer, because it depends on all those things falling in place.
The kindness of strangers.
The kindness of strangers, yeah. And each pays, of course, for the next step. Each of the monies that they bring in. Comments. Jack Curtis spoke up again, and he said the project needs a green screen area. He says for the along Glaspie Road there. You need trees, bushes, shrubs, that kind of thing. And I don't see anything on the drawing.
Screening from traffic?
From traffic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I don't see anything there according to ordinance, And they said, well, okay, next time we meet, we will, make sure all that is there.
50-foot hedges.
50-foot hedges, 55-foot hedges probably. I have no idea, but anyway, they're going to do something, I know. So anyway, the chairman, who is John Duvall, he says, is there any action required by us today to do this? And Jack Curtis says, well, I don't think so. But he says, well, let's at least do something. Let's table it. till the December 1st meeting. And Helmuth, I think she spoke up and she said, "That sounds good. I think I'll make a motion." No, I may have fibbed. She might not have been the one that made the motion, but we'll say she did. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So
Helmuth in motion.
Helmuth in motion. I was going to say the same thing. So anyway, December 1st, they're going to have a public hearing and then additional input, about this particular project. Now, there's one thing that Jack Curtis complained about in the original contract, and he said that in the contract it says per, this particular step per Chuck Snyder. And the next one statement, per Chuck Snyder. He says it needs to be a village official of some kind in conjunction with Chuck Snyder to determine, various things that changes, if there's changes to be made. Chuck Snyder or any contractor shouldn't have the right on their own to make changes to the agreement.
That's why you come back to the Planning Commission.
That's why you do. And he just pointed that out, and they said, okay, that's a good idea, we'll agree with it. Let me see. Next thing they were talking about, believe it or not, was medical marijuana. Yeah, medical marijuana, that old tiger is still in the air.
Years ago when I was videoing the village and the township, that was still a hot subject.
It is, but there's a lot of things going on right now. A fellow named Justice Damascus was a speaker, and he's from some type of a consulting agency or company, and he said that the state has several bills that are coming forward. He said that it gives community the ability to control and regulate.
Oh God. The last time the state came up with one of those, everyone was confused.
They said that this will allow the village to either opt in or opt out.
Oh.
And he said that it will provide procedures and regulations, including testing for the medical marijuana product. It will also provide 3% excise tax to the community on the product that's sold.
The community being
like Oxford.
Like Oxford.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
And
not just Silicon County.
What happens is this 3% goes into a fund, kind of a general fund, and you get 30%. The village will actually get 30% of that particular general fund back to you.
And who gets the lion's share?
I don't know, but I can hear them roaring out there. I'm sure. I think it might be the state. I'm not sure. Could be.
State and county kind of divvy it up, I guess.
And also, this new legislation allows the local government, like Oxford Village, to charge a $5,000 license collection fee for the community. So $5,000, and they said you can do it every year.
Is that about what happens with a liquor license?
I think it is.
Okay.
Pretty much the way that operates. Actually, for more information, you folks can go to occtv.org, and you can actually look up the Oxford Village PC, or Planning Commission meeting, that was run November 17th, and it gets more into detail on the subject.
occtv.org, click on programs.
Yep.
And if you just want to see the village meetings, there's a little thing called folders, and there's a little drop-down menu, go to village, and bang, everything is there.
Absolutely, there it is. And speaking about things that are there, what's coming up?
Not much.
Here's where he tap dances and sings, folks.
I had to go all the way to 12/1 to find something. This being the end of the month, folks. At 7 o'clock, the Village of Oxford Planning Commission will be meeting. And on 12/2 at, I think, 6:30, usual time period, Oxford Board of Education will be meeting at the board offices, and I think it's a superintendent review or something.
Yes. And guess what? We have Thanksgiving coming up.
Thanks be to God.
Yeah, it is. You got anything going?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
You're going to cook a turkey?
our family, extended family, we've already had a Thanksgiving meal. We're going to have another one this Saturday, and I think me and my wife are probably done with it.
I've been meaning to...
We're going to head out of town.
Yeah, been meaning to talk to you about those calories, by the way. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
We'll catch you right here on Minutes by Minutes.
See you then.